Assalamu alaikum all. Today I'm going to be talking about how I stopped making excuses to learn the language. Now, it's a really good video by Lingo Steve, and I'll make sure to have that in the description, which is talking about excuses and how to kind of get over those. And I want to talk about the excuses that I came across and how I went over and managed to kind of overcome them as well. Yeah, just want to say welcome to Inspired Iqbal. On this channel, I share my journey learning languages as a Muslim. Now, the first excuse is that I'm too old to learn the language. It's a common excuse you hear from people. And it's because like kids learn languages just kind of naturally and, can pick it up really well. And, exactly how I learned Bengali as a kid, just from my parents. And I learned English just like out and about in the school and friends and things like that. And however, that does not mean that, I cannot learn the language when I'm older. And definitely, as I've kind of looked into this, I've definitely realized that the more I do, the more I learn. As I delve into a language and I make progress, I get that confidence. Oh, actually, I'm learning something. I'm picking things up. Like, I was learning about in French, how they use the word the, the. So it's like la or li, depending on a feminine or masculine word. And then it's just L with apostrophe if the next word starts with a vowel. So like all of these things slowly they come into me, and it kind of just helps me kind of get used to a concept. Another key thing to know about the brain is that it creates connections. The more I do, the more connections it will create, all the neurons and synapses and neural pathways. Like the brain will constantly kind of develop these connections. And there was a really good analogy I learned from someone about how Chinese kids learn how to use chopsticks. They can't use a chopstick just automatically. They have to keep practicing, keep using it, and the brain kind of gets used to it. The muscles and everything all sort of come together. And now as they get older, it's just second nature to them. I definitely believe it's the same with languages as well. And another big thing is just to stick with the language. If I stick with it, it's just a matter of time when I will kind of just learn the language and be able to kind of speak and listen and all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, and almost doesn't matter what I do as long as I continue. So, it's all about getting that brain, getting that exposure, that comprehensive input, building those connections, the neurons, the kind of pathways and neuroplasticity, all of that sort of stuff. And again, you don't need to know all the inner details of the brain, but just kind of know these kind of general ideas that, that's how the brain sort of works. And another key thing is just to make it fun as well. That's another way to keep continuing with the language. Is a big part of this channel is making it fun, finding something that I can stick to. So that's watching TV shows or Lingo, which is something that I've really kind of got into recently. And yeah, it's just about getting input for the brain and immersing my brain and just soaking it in that language. Another excuse that comes up, it's too hard to learn the language, it's very complicated, it's grammar rules, it's vocabulary. And what I've kind of learned is really, it's just that the learning style is too hard. It's about finding a different way to learn. So maybe there's a book that isn't working for you, so then try a different book. I didn't like learning long lists of vocabulary and grammar rules, and yeah, it was just getting really complicated to learn. So when things were getting too hard, I would definitely try something different, something more kind of natural and immersive. Like sometimes there's a TV show I'm not that into, and then I'll kind of switch to something else. So for example, there's some French show that I was watching the other day, just about French property and stuff, and I feel like, okay, I've had enough of this. Let me go into something else that's engaging. So now I started watching Tour de France Unchained on Netflix. So there's loads of things out there. It's just about finding what you like. And yeah, it's also like if there's an exercise that's difficult in a book, I might skip it or just go straight to the answer. Not kind of really kind of make it really hard on myself and really kind of battle through. And also I need to understand that it takes time to learn language. I'm not going to learn it overnight. And yeah, I just got to just keep learning and just keep kind of just continuing it and just let it naturally kind of build up. Which then kind of brings me on to the next excuse, is that people say they don't have time to learn a language. They feel they have to go to a class. They, need to spend hours per day learning a language. And that is not the case at all. It's all about just doing a little every day. I spend about, 5 minutes a day. If there's some days I can't get stuff done. And over the course of a week, months, things like that, it really kind of adds up. And the number one thing I would definitely say for people to try is Duolingo. It could take as little as like 3 minutes a day. And it's amazing how much I've learned just over the course of, I've done like a 70-day streak now. So, I've over 2 months now, and yeah, I've actually picked up loads of French just through that, as well as through the other means. But Duolingo has been amazing. I did not expect it to be that good. Another thing is you can do online lessons as well, so you don't need to go anywhere. I talk about things like Preply or another one called iTalker, where you could just get an online tutor. You can just do it from the comfort of your home. You save time. It's also cheap as well. I've got a teacher from Morocco, so I'm paying like Morocco equivalent Whereas in the UK, that will cost a lot more. And I get that one-to-one kind of learning as well, as opposed to in the class. So it's really good. The next excuse I want to talk about is I thought I had to be in the country to learn that language. I spent time in France, on holiday in Morocco and other parts of the world, and I've never really kind of picked up much of the language. So that's definitely not true. And now there's just so many resources available. It doesn't matter where I am, I can just kind of learn a language. It's all about just doing a bit every day, continuing, just immersing myself in the language. And and I totally understand that, people can find languages quite, daunting at first, but no, there is really fun ways to kind of pick up a language, and you will be very surprised. And I definitely believe that anyone can pick up a language. It's just about finding a language that you really want to learn and finding fun ways to do and engage with that language. But I just want to say thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, as it really helps with the algorithm. Assalamu alaikum.